everyone, Bernard here on behalf of MovieGameNostalgia.com. I hope you're all well and keeping safe. Right, a little movie review today, and the film called Blood Vessel. There you go, that's a good title. It's all there encompassed in the title of what this film's about. Please, if you're new to this channel and you like movie vlogs and review vlogs and TV drama reviews, poster reviews, information vlogs, please, if you can push that subscribe button, that'd be fantastic. Tell your friends about this, and please make sure your notifications are set to public if you want notified when these little vlogs are coming out. Yeah, I've been watching a few films just very recently, and I only do a vlog if it's something I'm really interested in, and this Blood Vessel, yeah, an interesting one. An hour and 33 minutes. It is a horror, obviously, as you could guess, and it's an Australian effort. Although obviously it's like the United Nations as far as the acts are concerned. There's all sort of accents going on, some bad and some not so bad. Yeah, it was filmed in Melbourne, Australia, and directed by Justin Dix and written by Dix as well, alongside a guy called Jordan Prosser. There's actually some scenes were filmed. If you're obviously, I'm not familiar with this, but if you're watching this in Australia, you might have an idea. Scenes were filmed on the HMAS Castlemaine. The only thing I know about Castlemaine was Lager, a fully restored World War II Bathurst class corvette currently docked at Gem Pier in Williamstown. So yeah, that's where this was filmed. A bit of throwaway information for you there. Yeah, the cast, didn't really know much of the cast. I'm not sure where they've come from. I think that one or two sort of looks a little bit familiar, but not too much. You might know better than me. You've got Alyssa Sutherland, Robert Taylor, Nathan Phillips, Christopher Kirby, John Lloyd Fillingham, and Alex Cook. What's it about? Well, somewhere in the North Atlantic in late 1945, so obviously towards the end of the war, a life raft drift on the sea. So it's not Mr. Hitchcock, it's not Lifeboat. In it we have survivors of a torpedoed hospital ship. No food, no water or shelter. All seems lost until an abandoned German minesweeper, why is it abandoned, drifts ominously towards them, giving them one last chance at survival. Any good? Well, there's no actual reviews written by anybody yet, but Internet Movie Database, Joe Public, you and me, it's getting 5.3 out of 10, which isn't fantastic, is it? But of that, 54% of the people who've left a review actually scored it 6 or higher. So obviously the overall rating's a little bit low, but it's actually quite a lot of positivity with the scores. So that sort of piqued my interest. My little look at it, the first 15-20 minutes, and we have a real ragtag team of actors here, and as I say, I'm not too sure if their accents are real or they're making them up. I mean, the English guy, I don't know where his accent comes from, so obviously the Australians and various other things. We've got a Russian sniper involved in this. He doesn't do much sniping. A moronic Englishman. Well, there you go. It's made in Australia, so they're not going to make us English look clever or anything, are they? An American cook, yeah, don't they all? An Australian soldier, yeah, I mean, it's Australian, so is he the hero? You'll have to see. A useless captain. There you go. An all-motherly figure played by Alyssa Sutherland is obviously the matriarch on this little boat. Yeah, I mean, it was such a hodgepodge of characters, and I think the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, obviously they're trying to sort of sell the characters and get you to invest in them, and I wasn't overly impressed with it, and it put me off a little bit, to say the least, but I'm sort of glad I stuck with it, because yeah, I mean, I'm not giving too much away by telling you it's a little vampire effort. So obviously the abandoned ship, etc. I mean, it's all old things of Whitby and Dracula, isn't it? So I'm not giving too much away with that anyway. And yeah, this getting to know the characters, and I found them a little bit annoying to be honest with you. I nearly pressed the off switch I nearly went onto the streaming site and looked for something else, to be honest with you. But beneath it all, I'm going to surprise you. There's a nice little vampire horror, quite old-fashioned looking, and 3 or 4 of the characters do actually grew on me, and they weren't as annoying by the end of it as they were at the start. So whether that's because they started to get rid of some of the annoying characters early doors. I'm not too sure, but I did sort of want sort of some of the characters survive by the end of it. And yeah, there is corny elements. It is a very basic old. I mean, the actual effects are quite good, actually. I think the guy who's put this together, that directed this, I think he has a background in special effects, and the effects are very, very good for such a low budget thing. But it does have an 80s, 90s sort of horror vampire feel. It's a bit corny in parts, but there is some tension built into it, some tense scenes, and it does become a lot more watchable the longer it plays. The acting, as I say, seems to improve. I say it's pretty naff at the start, but either I sort of was enjoying the film more, or I was letting them off with the accents. I'm not too sure. But as the film moves along, it actually appears to improve. Or perhaps, as I said, like before, the weaker actors got killed off quite early. So yeah, the acting was okay by the end of it, and it was all right. I quite enjoyed it. I'd probably go as far as to say it's one of the better vampire films I've seen for a while. I mean, obviously, one of my most recent vampire ones was the recent adaptation by the BBC, the series, wasn't it? A mini-series about Dracula, which was okay. But I mean, I think it's the World War II background. It made, the time passing element to it, the 1940s element makes it a little bit more enjoyable. Not everything's explained, but I mean, you don't need everything explained. You can make certain judgments based on what's happening with on this minesweeper. But whether the minesweeper element is important, it's not really. It's just, it could be any sort of German ship, but obviously perhaps that's all they had to hand to film it on with this ship in dock in Australia. Yeah, I mean, it is a turn your head off, and not try and think too much about it. It is sort of some silly languages and stuff and various things, but yeah, I mean, it is. I did enjoy it as a vampire film. It's not going to live long in the memory, I must admit, but by no means, in my opinion, it's certainly not a waste of time. So I quite enjoyed this. It's the sort of film I would normally just do a little review on Twitter and leave it at that. I wouldn't bother you with doing this little video, but I thought it was worthwhile. As I say, nearly, obviously over half the people give it 6 marks plus on IMDB. So even though it's getting a 5.3 out of 10, I'm going to go mad. I'm going to go mad and give it an MGN rating of 6 out of 10. So that's not too bad. And I'll tell you what, there's some good posters as well. I'll show a couple on this as you're watching this review. Obviously, you would have seen 2 or 3 posters. I do like the posters. I would certainly have those posters on the wall. And you can't go far wrong with an odd swastika, can you? I like the odd historical correctness. I mean, you probably don't know it, or you may know it. There used to be a game called Escape from Colditz, and it was reissued, and there was a furore about them using a swastika on the game. To me, that's part of the history. Whether it's it should be there because that's what it was. So it doesn't really worry me so much because that's part of our history. I watch documentaries all the time with swastikas in it. There's nothing ever said. That's just part of horrible history, yes, and not very nice thing and what they did, etc. But yeah, I mean, a couple of those images have got a couple of those posters have got a nice swastika, so you can't go far wrong. That sort of scored an extra point for me. So as my little thing where I do a movie versus the poster, I'll give the poster victory, even though I do like the movie. I'm going to give the posters, a couple of those posters, at least a 7 out of 10. And I certainly wouldn't mind putting one of those posters on my wall. Fantastic. So the poster 7 out of 10, the movie a nice watchable 6 out of 10. But as I say, just turn your head off and enjoy it for a vampire film. And it is corny. It is a bit of a flashback to a sort of going back to other sort of horror films of the 80s and 90s, and there's nothing fantastic. There's no modernism to it. It's just a very basic vampire people stuck on a boat trying to escape sort of thing. And yeah, I quite enjoyed it. As I say, it won't live long in the memory, but there you go. Anyway, please check my links on screen for the the different things on Twitter, and obviously my moviegamenostalgia.com for old rare DVDs, movie posters and board games on there as well. So if you can spend a couple of minutes just having a look around, you don't have to buy anything, just helps my analytics and footfall. And if you're not into Twitter, please, you can follow me on Facebook. I do post these little movie reviews, etc. on Facebook as well as Twitter. So if you're on Facebook, just friend me at Bernard Deneen, and I'll try and check and friend everyone back who's got legitimate accounts. There's so much rubbish goes on Facebook with people with like 2 or 3 pictures on their account trying to be friends with you, and you know it's for some ulterior motive. But please, if you've got a legitimate Facebook account, I will follow you back on there or friend you back on there as well. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Hope you enjoyed that little Blood Vessel. I've no dates, so if it's got to be released, I think it's being streamed at the moment. I'm not sure if it's going to be released to retail, but if it is, I will have that information for you in the near future. Anyway, thanks for watching. We're going to do the rest of the day. Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families, look after your necks. Let's all look after each other. Until I meet you again on another movie review or a drama review or an information vlog. This is Bernard saying goodbye for now. Stay safe.